So, when do you become a man? When do you become a real man? Um, that's the question a lot of men face. A lot of young men face in their late teens. It's an avoidable question. That pretty much all the teens, whatever, early 20s, including myself, I've asked myself that question before. And some found answers by guidance, by other people. And some, you know, continue their life never finding this answer. And it's sad. It's a crucial point in a young man's life when you have to find yourself. You have to find your manhood because, you're no longer a boy. You're no longer a boy. You're a young man, and you're transitioning into manhood and getting into your manhood. So you have to find it. You have to know what it is. You have to know the definition and what it takes to be that. And yeah, it's a great question. In this period of time, when a young man is trying to, become a man, it's a very important one because that's when you learn to be self-reliant and take responsibility, so you can be useful to yourself first of all, and also useful to society as a whole. So if you don't learn those things by those years in your late teens or early 20s, you risk of delaying it. You're delaying it even more. That's where you have a lot of 30, 40-year-old just passing through life, not knowing their purpose, not knowing what their manhood, not knowing just how to be responsible. And it's a crisis, and yeah, it's very important. Now, if you miss it, the chances of ever getting into manhood and true manhood is just diminish every time. Every time you delay it, in your late teens, your early 20s, your 30s, you just keep delaying it, and then you might never even get into it, And it's even harder nowadays. But when do you actually become a man? And I think the truth is, we don't really know. It's not definitive, especially in this world that we live in right now. And it shows, men today are aimlessness, purposeless, just in despair, and statistically, I think men are even like the chances of men committing suicide is like 3 or 4 times higher than of female counterparts, and that's from that's from the NIH, and I'll leave the link for that. Yeah, it's very scary. It's a very concerning crisis that we live in, and that's because I don't think that's all because of this reason of not going and not knowing their purpose, but it's definitely one of the reasons, and it shows it's really hard. It's really hard for men, and it's even harder nowadays with how the world is shaped. Coming from the pandemic, in the post-pandemic world, we're all inside and we have to interact online, and then that became like the default interaction. Not really the default, but like, well, we really got comfortable, interacting online, interacting people, like from other countries, and that's amazing. But it shouldn't be like a primary way of interacting, and a lot of men got used to it, and it's completely destroyed how we interact with one another. You don't want to go up to one one person at Starbucks and talk to them. You feel awkward or whatever. So we're losing that sense of community, which is important for manhood. And yeah, it's just weird. It's the toughest time to learn how to be one, especially for young men. Um, yeah, leaving even young men more in despair, and then we ask yourself the question like, why are so many young men are struggling? And there isn't a definitive answer to this, but one thing that I find um, the most um, the biggest glaring issue in this conversation is the lack of men guidance and mentorship in our society. You know, so for centuries, um, rite of passage marked the transition from boyhood to manhood. In ancient cultures, these rituals were, test of courage, of responsibility, resilience, and and often overseen by elders, the chiefs of the village. And I'm talking about the ancient cultures. These ceremonies weren't just symbolic. They were essential to teach young men vital life lessons. It marked with clear moment when they're recognized as men, and now they're men. And they're proving themselves they're men. That's why they're very essential. Um, but in the 21st century, the art of rite of passage and initiation has been lost completely in our society. Yeah, completely extinct. Worse, even masculinity is kind of not every time, but often um, scrutinized by society. Leaving young men even confused, more confused, to what to be, what to aspire to be. You know, um, the lack of these rites of passage means that many never face challenges, and challenges that pushes them to become, uh, to get out of comfort zone and grow. Like, because you need that comfortability to grow. You need constraint to grow, to get out of yourself, and we lack that. And then a lot of men don't have that, and then, to take responsibility. You know, quick thing. I used to think when you're when I turned 18 that I would automatically become a man. I would automatically become a real man, and that's not the case. That's that's BS. Because to become a man, it's not just an age thing or a number thing. Okay, now I'm 18. Now I'm totally a man. It's more of a metamorphosis. It's a process of growth. You do this, you learn this, and then you grow. You adapt. You take responsibility. Like, you grow by the time. It's not just automatically you have it. You get granted this citizenship of manhood, or this path. It's not that. You take responsibility. You learn. You take courage, proving yourself that you're no longer a boy. Um, yeah, and it's yeah, a lot of men are. The lack of man figure has left big, like, so many gap you know and holes that are needed to be filled. And I was watching this recent interview of Andrew Tate, not Andrew Tate, Andrew Huberman, of Andrew Huberman, where he quoted a passage from Robert Bly's book, Iron John. And it's a book that it's been recommended to me, but I haven't read it yet. I should probably read it. But he said the following from the book. I think he paraphrased it or something like that. But he said the following: the whole of the remote father leaves a gap in a boy's life that demons can enter through. Let that sink in. And let me say that again. The whole of the remote father leaves a gap in a boy's life that demons can enter through. And that really spoke to me. Because me, myself, my father was present. But he unfortunately passed away when I was about 5 years old. So I didn't grow up with him. I wished I did. It was unfortunate that he left me that early. God rest his soul. But yeah, it just that left a gap in my life. But luckily for me, my mom was strong, and I had uncles that would help me. People around just helped me, be a good young man, a decent young man, and I think I turned out well. But that spoke to me because when you look at, the amount of people who are incarcerated, young men or just men in general, in prisons, I can guarantee you, like I could put money on this, that a lot of them didn't have a strong father figure that could have just saved the situation for them. That could have changed their lives. Like if they only had like one strong, positive male figure, they probably wouldn't be in that situation or in prison, right? Like a lot of them don't have a father figure, and just having father figure alone is not sufficient, because you can have a father that it's negligent or just bad influence. They have to be positive role model, and for them to be, influencing you. And I even say another thing that just came up to me, like that gap needs to be filled. That the remote father does, like that needs to be filled. You need guidance on that gap. And then what do you have? You have fake counterfeits, demons that can enter through. That's why in today's society you can see, the rise of alpha males, sigma males, on the internet or Instagram, whatever, or YouTube. Because they know the problem. Those people, they're smart, and they see a problem. They see a void in young men's life, and they want to solve that problem by entering through it, being manipulative and being a counterfeit. That's sad. Those are the demons. Avoid the demons. The demons are easy to get through if you don't have a guidance, and that's very key. You can if you can take anything away from this video, just know that one day you're going to be a father as well, and you should never leave a gap. Be a strong one. Never leave a gap, because demons can enter through, and then they can enter through your own life. So look for guidance as well. Like at one point, you just need something outside of yourself. We're not that strong. We need other people. We need other men, other great young men or great older men that have done it, that have gone through it, that they can guide you to do better. And that comes with mentorship and everything like that. And look for God. After all, that's the biggest. That's the biggest figure. So that just relieves a lot of weight from your shoulder, a lot of weight on you. That just looking for a bigger figure. That's God. So why rite of passage matter? Why do we need to do that? Why were they so essential for ancient cultures? And I think that's because they provided two biggest components that are fundamental for manhood and fundamental for young men in general. Those two things are overcoming challenges, and second thing is taking responsibility. First, overcoming challenges. That is very key, because that teaches you that you can step out of your comfort zone, and you know, proving to yourself that you have capabilities that can, help you, um, help you get through things, get through difficult things. And that's just so important, man. Because when you're a young man, you just naturally feel like a loser sometimes. But when you find out that you can go through a challenge and get over it, and then find out that you're good at something, that's just everything for a young man. And it gives you this sense of vitality and confidence in yourself, which is amazing. And secondly, taking responsibility, and that's good because you're learning how to take accountability for your oneself, for yourself, and for others. And it's like you said, it's not always about you. It's for you to learn and do what's right. But it's also for others. Take responsibility. Help others. Help one another, and that's big as well. When young men, cross these thresholds, they experience a psychological shift. Like they feel the weight of their new identity. Like, yo, I can do this. This is the things that it gives you a sense of purpose, basically. Like, I have responsibility. I can do this. I'm good at this. I'm good at comedy. I'm good at boxing. I'm good at lifting. I'm good at soccer, football, basketball. I'm good at preaching. I'm good at talking, writing, singing. You find those things are difficult and you overcome them. And those are just examples. It could be anything, but you find the things are difficult and you overcome them, and you find your capabilities and you find your skills, which give you confidence. It's all in the world. Like, it does everything for a young man. And I would encourage every man to find that, because those are very, very important. So as we know, we do not have rite of passage. You can just be 18 and be a man. They call you a man. You can get a job or anything. But we don't have necessarily rite of passage, or you have to go to the forest and hunt and get through like a test. We don't have that. But we have to recreate them. And we have to ask ourselves, how can we recreate the rite of passage in the 21st century? What is 2024 going to 2025? How can we transition into manhood correctly by the rite of passage, modern rite of passage? Number one, apprenticeship. Many successful men began as apprentice. You have to learn under someone else with experience, teaches you, their skills or what they know. That show you even more things that are valuable, humility and valuable skills. And if you admire someone in your community or your field of study, start by asking for advice. Over time, this can grow into a mentorship, giving you guidance and accountability that you need. And number one tip is never just ask someone out of nowhere to be your mentor. Just ask for advice first. Second, hobbies. Active hobbies like sports, martial arts, craftsmanship help young men bond with others and develop traits like discipline and risk taking and teamwork, because these activities foster camaraderie and create spaces where men can grow together, strengthening mental health and emotional resilience amongst men. Number 3, building bonds. Isolation is one of the greatest threats to young men today. Societal expectations often make it difficult for men to form deep, meaningful relationships. Encouraging friendships and open conversation and share activities can counteract this, and providing the support network essential for well-being. Becoming a man isn't this checkbox or a single event or a number that you can check and just, I'm a man. It's a process of growth, challenge, responsibility over time. By recreating the pathways that guide young men in manhood, we can help them navigate, the barriers of aimlessness and isolation. And I would encourage every man watching this to relentlessly seek guidance, embrace challenges, take ownership, and nurture connections, because those are the foundation of manhood. Thanks for watching.